are now
Pledge of Allegiance.
officially recording.
Pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Nick?
Here.
Floyd?
Here.
Valerie? Clay?
Here.
Andres? So we do have a quorum of 3. I have no registered public comments.
Okay. Review the regular minutes of September 28th, 2022.
Nothing for me. Nothing for me.
Okay, make a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Yeah, you two will be busy
Yeah.
tonight. Nick?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Okay. Review of financial statement from September 2022.
The total cash on hand for September was $2,901,103. We're up roughly $143,000 from the previous month. Our overall expenses are down $167,000 from this time last year. And our accounts receivable as of September 30th are $996,000. So we're doing really good. And the only concerns I have are same concerns as we've had: medical supplies, vehicle and gas, and vehicle repairs. But averaging everything out, it looks like we're on tap to be right at budget. So we're looking good on financials. So that's all I have for financials, unless you guys have questions.
Okay.
We do a motion on that.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve financials. Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Okay, resolution to adopt the 2023 budget. Bob has to.
I have to
Read the
read it
minutes.
into the minutes since you guys didn't get it in your board packet, so this may take a while. Resolution to adopt the 2023 budget, appropriate sums of money, and authorize the certification of the tax levy for Trinidad Ambulance District. A resolution summarizing revenues and expenditures for each fund, adopting a budget, levying general property taxes for the year 2023 to help defray the costs of government, and appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amounts and for the purposes set forth herein for the Trinidad Ambulance District, Los Animas County, Colorado, for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2023 and ending on the last day of December 2023. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Trinidad Ambulance District has authorized its consultants to prepare and submit a proposed budget to said governing body at the proper time. And whereas the proposed budget has been submitted to the Board of Directors of the district for its consideration, and whereas upon due and proper notice published or posted in accordance with the law, said proposed budget was available for inspection by the public at a designated public office. A public hearing was held on October 26, 2022, and interested electors were given the opportunity to file or register any objections to said proposed budget. And whereas whatever, I guess I should probably be doing this at the budget
That's what I
hearing.
was just gonna ask.
Never mind. Cross that out. We'll do this at the budget hearing.
Just pick up where you left
Yeah.
off.
Right? I am so sorry. Yeah.
All right, so we don't have to do anything with it until the budget
Not
part?
till the budget hearing.
All right, so what's this, family? Is that family? Or
So that's the new program that came out. It was part of FMLA, and I brought it up a few months ago and we talked about it. But we don't offer a FMLA because we're not big enough. And so I don't feel like this pertains to us. So we just need board approval to submit the letter that says we're opting out of it.
What's the requirement to have FMLA?
50 employees.
15?
50.
50.
50. Oh,
Yes,
there's
sir.
like 50.
So we just need approval from the board to opt out of the program is all.
So what are we gonna do in its place, I guess, if say?
Nothing. This was just an added on thing that the state wanted to do this year.
So I'll make a motion that we opt out since it doesn't pertain to us.
Floyd will second that.
Nick,
Yes.
Floyd,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Okay, director's report.
October 20th, Dr. DeWall came down and held a training on our new guidelines. So we're officially switched over from all of our old stuff to his guidelines. We're continuing conversations with QuickMed claims and trying to get that whole process resolved without having to go through litigation. So that's been an ongoing kind of deal. The USDA loan, we're waiting on final numbers for Beltry so we can start the interim loan process. And the architect needs a month or so to get some additional drawings. So once the architect gets those additional drawings to Beltry, then they can give some kind of more finalized numbers. And then we can proceed with the interim loan. So we're looking at maybe not starting this project until after the first of the year, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We don't want to be pouring concrete and stuff now when it's getting cold anyway. So I think it was good to hold off a little bit. I'll let Bubba talk to you about the staffing issue we've been having. And then just real quick updates. October 10th, we did a walkthrough with Veltri and the subcontractors, so that's been going really smooth. October 14th, we participated in the homecoming parade. That was kind of neat. October 17th, we participated in Trinidad State College's job fair. Maybe 5 people came through. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of participation, but
probably zero interest in medical.
it was a good social hour for us to talk to other agencies. October 18th, we did another walkthrough with Veltri and the architect, and we made a couple minor changes, nothing big. So those will be reflected on the next drawings. October 19th was the meeting with QuickMed Claims, the old billing company, to try and get some of that resolved. November 1st, we'll be having our ambulance inspections for licensure at the first of the year. And then November 10th through 13th, Bubba, Darren, and I will be going to the state conference. So we're gonna go meet some state folks and see what the state's got going on.
Where's that?
Keystone.
Oh, we had some snow.
So, yeah, that's my only fear is it's in winter, but that's all I have for my director's report.
So I have another boo-boo that I need to mention. So my computer crashed the other day and Hayden put it back, set it back. So when I printed out your agendas today, it's missing. It's an old agenda that we're missing the item for equipment purchases that we had on there on the road that went out in your board packets.
Yes?
So we need to put that maybe under miscellaneous, just as a reminder. I just realized that it's not on that agenda.
Okay, we can put it in miscellaneous.
Okay, that's all I have for director's report.
You ready? Okay. 195 calls for service for the month of September. 208 reports, so there was multiple calls with multiple patients. 34 IFTs, had 7,715 miles for the interfacility transfers. Our Medic 3 did 10 calls, so that's our on-call truck. And we had Medic 4 out for 3 calls with 6 patients. So we've been noticing that we've been having a little uptick, which you would think would be more in the summertime. But here lately it's been that we're getting a little bit more, having those on-call crews coming in. EMS 1 had 2 reports, EMS 2 had 1 report. Right now we have 2 employees out on injury. One is unwork-related injury that happened at home, but he's a medic and he is out until at least the first of the year, potentially longer. And then we had a work-related injury. It was a 6-month-old child, I think, on a driveway, slipped and hurt her knee. So we are waiting, she had her MRI done. She says she's feeling better. She has a doctor's appointment on Friday, and we should, we'll know more then. We have her scheduled until the 1st of November, which is obviously next week, but if we need to adjust that. So right now we are down a medic. So far, through the end, we have the schedule open through the end of November, and looks like we're gonna be able to cover that ALS as it looks right now, as long as anything else doesn't happen. Even though that's something that the 15 years I've been here, we haven't really had a lot of injuries or anything like that, so it's something new for us. We're just going to be real cautious. One of the concerns we have is overtime, but also wearing out our employees. We actually have 5 part-time paramedics. One is off with a family issue. One is off on another non-job related injury. One is unavailable until the end of November. One is a TFD employee that's getting called in more because they're down 3 positions. And then the other one is not really active. So we're gonna be in a crunch. We're gonna do everything we can and meet our service. But the potential is, once again, if something happens, that we may have to adjust things. So hopefully we'll get their one employee back. That'll relieve the EMT side, and then we'll have medics again. One thing we did do this last month was went through a workshop and found out that we're one of the few companies definitely around our region, but almost nationally, that is actually fully staffed, even though we're having a little bit of issues right now. But talking with some of these other providers, companies, they are not even close to being staffed. So we're blessed with that, and we're just going to try to keep everybody healthy and work from there. Truck stuff, our trucks, got one out with a turbo right now. Hopefully that's all it was. That was that turbo went out in Medic 3 going to a call. We were able to get Medic 2 or Medic 1 they're transporting 2 patients from Aguilar, so they upped it up and got up there. Was a non-emergent call. So we have 4 trucks out of 5 in service right now. We have no updates on our rechassis units, so we're still waiting. I know, just saw in EMS 1 that Mayor of Dallas is pleading with Pete Buttigieg, the transportation leader, to do something with the crisis with these chassis all the way across. They said they're waiting on 27 ambulances that they need this year, and they haven't got all the ones they got needed last year. So that's what I have. Sorry to be Debbie Downer. Been called that lately.
All right, miscellaneous.
So I'll start with the easy one first, the 2 items that were supposed to be on here.
Okay.
So we were awarded partial grant, and so I received the PO a couple days ago. And so I need permission from the board to buy the ballistic vest portion. which is gonna be about $15,100, and then we'll get half of that back. So that was budgeted for, so we have that. I just need permission to buy those. So, need a motion.
Are you also gonna request funds for cardiac monitors?
After that.
Well, we can put it all in the motion.
Mm,
No? Okay,
I don't want to.
okay,
They're separate.
okay.
So I'll motion to approve the ballistic vest purchase.
Second.
Nick,
Yes.
Floyd,
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Okay, then you go through cardiac monitors.
Sweet.
What
Now,
do you do with the old, what do you do with the old vests? Just toss them or what?
yeah,
Yeah.
toss them, donate them. I mean, they're expired, so we can't use them, but they've still got life in them. So, I mean, if
Yeah.
the police department or sheriff's office or somebody
Yeah,
wants
you
them,
wonder if there's some
or if the staff wants to
PD
keep
somewhere,
them.
you know, Los Angeles, somewhere that's,
A lot of times they do the with expired ones, they stick them in the car doors.
So, yeah, if you're going to somebody, throw it over the car door.
interesting.
Yeah, I stick them inside the car doors.
I just, you know, I like to see stuff get used as much as possible.
Going in
Yeah,
the trash.
I mean, we can look at donating
What about the
them, or-
volunteer fire, the
Yeah.
volunteers?
I wouldn't want that liability just
Okay.
because they're expired,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
so I wouldn't want that liability, but if we donated them for training or something,
Right.
There you go.
that'd be fine.
Okay.
Or if we let the employees keep them, I don't know if you guys are okay with the employees just keeping them, they can do whatever they want with them, as long as they don't wear them on duty.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you obviously can do with them.
Yeah. So my second one, this is kind of out of the ordinary. So we budgeted for capital expense for remount of an ambulance. Obviously, we're not going to get that this year. And so we've got that little bit of money left on top of the Medicaid money that I got back, the $190-some thousand. Our cardiac monitors are at their end of life, and I actually think they're past the end of life. Average is 7 years. I think we're at 8 or 9. And we've started to see more and more issues come up with them. So I would like to request permission to spend $158,000 to buy new monitors utilizing the Medicaid funds that we got back. Due to the fact that there's just something telling me that I can't wait another year because we were going to apply for it on next year's grant, and I just don't feel comfortable waiting. And after talking to our manufacturing rep, he said that there was 3 agencies up north that got monitors about the same time, same exact monitor at the same time, and he's replaced 5 motherboards in theirs, which those are about $5,000 a piece. And so by doing this, we're going to spend about $50,000 more than what we would have, but they're also $50,000 cheaper than what the quote was originally.
What kind are
They're Tempest Pro. It's a Philips.
they?
So it's a Philips. It's a new technology. There's 2 portions. So there's the cardiac monitor portion that does the blood pressure, pulse ox, and end tidal. And then there's a separate portion that can stay attached, or you can detach it, and it'll do cardiac monitoring and manual defibrillation. So, and they'll talk to each other, so you can use them independently, or you can use them together and they'll talk to each other. So the setup that we're looking at, that we got a quote on, comes ultrasound ready and video laryngoscopy ready, if we wanted to go that route in the future. And it also comes with, it's called Consortium. And so that allows us to give the hospital access, and the hospital can log in and look at our stuff live. And so if we've got the patient on the cardiac monitor and there's something going on, the hospital can log in and look at live what we're seeing on our cardiac monitor.
Do you have the video laryngoscopes?
We do.
You do?
So we wouldn't look at that right away. We're pretty happy with our video laryngoscopes, and they're fairly simple to use.
Yeah.
So that's not something we need to look at right now. And the ultrasound is a waiver procedure, and so that's not something we'll do.
Right.
I mean, we're probably a year out or so, but it already comes built in. So these were gonna be demo units that somebody purchased, and then they decided to go a different route, And so our vendor picked them up fairly cheap, and so he's given us the best price he can on them. So these are $24,000 a piece, and they're usually about 35. So I wanted to kind of see your thoughts, and I feel like we've got the money, we've got the extra money that we weren't counting on having, and I feel like now is probably a good time to start looking at that.
So is the chassis that we're waiting on, we're not gonna get it this year, maybe next?
Maybe next year, the year after.
But the money will be available next year?
Yeah, so essentially that carries over. The chassis that we ordered in the last grant cycle, we still don't have an update on that. And that was supposed to be a 22. That's still not even been built yet.
Yeah.
So we just ordered our 23 chassis a few days ago. So who knows? We might get the 23 before we get the 22.
Yeah.
We might not even get a 22. Who knows at this point? So,
I guess that would be my only concern is what happened by some chance the chassis comes up and we spent that money.
well,
Or that's money we weren't
yeah,
counting
it's
on
not. I was just making the point that we've got extra money
Gotcha.
on top of that.
for that. Gotcha.
Yeah,
So we're not spending
So
that
chassis
money.
aside,
Right.
there's extra money for the heart
Right.
monitors.
Right.
Yeah, that's extra 190 we got out of the Medicaid.
Yeah, that-
Medicare.
Medicaid. So the Medicaid money was the supplemental, and it was 190,000 by itself.
Gotcha.
And so we got that plus whatever the chassis is that we're not going to spend this year.
And my thoughts are if the equipment's needed, it's kind of an important piece of equipment.
How many do you guys have now?
5.
5. And you get
Yeah.
5 again?
So we're going to buy 5, and we're going to keep 2 of the old ones. We're just going to have him PM them, so they'll be backups, and we can put them on our county rigs because the 2 monitors that we have out in the county, they're obsolete. So he'll give us 3, or we'll trade in 3. He give us a small nominal fee for those, and then we'll keep 2, and we'll get 5 brand new for ALS rigs.
Thoughts?
I can't help you.
Yeah, I know, I mean, you need them, you need it.
over there.
Yeah,
So
you
we
can't.
need a motion?
Yeah.
Stuff.
So I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Sorry, I can't help you.
Nick,
Yes, I can help you.
Floyd,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Okay, anything else you got?
I have another question for you.
Okay.
So, I don't know how to bring it up. I'm in desperate need of a monitor to teach ACLS and PALS. Is there a way, even those ones in the county, that you could donate one to the hospital? Not to me, I mean, you know, I do most of my teaching up there. I just need a monitor, that's all, it doesn't even have to.
I don't have an issue with that.
I don't know if you could talk to the, whatever departments they are, maybe just, you know, just have a monitor and so I can feed the rhythms in there.
It's ours.
Oh,
So it would be a board decision, but I don't see an issue. I'm happy to do that. I don't see an issue
No,
with
you
that.
can take one of those,
The E-Series.
the E-Series.
I just, you know, the one we're using up there is the old, oh my God, what were they? They're beige, about this big, kind of flat. You know, they're boat anchors, man. They're 20 years old. The one I was using, it finally died.
I wonder if that's. We'll let you
Now,
look at
did
one
that
of
have
those.
the, did
It's
that
a
have the paddles?
monophasic. Yeah, it's a monophasic.
Okay,
defibrillator.
so if it's okay, now this is, those, we talked to John, he cannot use those and he's not gonna give us any money for that. We can't use them anywhere else. So if it's good with the chief and the board, might as well take both of those and then you'll have one to, cause I don't know what we're gonna do with the other,
Well, if you,
what we do with the
like I
other.
said, just you donate it to the hospital for education or something, not to be used to show some patients.
I'm okay with that. They're obsolete. We can't do anything with
Right.
them. We won't get anything on trade on
Somebody
them.
might as well use them.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
There you go.
how much are they valued at? Because you may need a motion to be able to do the donation.
That's a good question. I'll have to find out.
Yeah, see what the value. And you probably have to do it with another board member here,
Yeah,
since it's me teaching.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll find out the value,
Okay, yeah,
and
that's
then
cool.
we can bring that up. But
Yeah, another one, next.
Yeah, but the bad thing is
Whenever.
your next meeting is either gonna be December 28th or January 25th.
Well, it's
Well-
whatever, yeah.
Well, I mean, how soon do you need them, Claire?
I don't have one. So
So
now
it-
what we do is when I have a class, I just talked the other day, you know, then we go down in the hospital, go to some department, find a monitor, and I hook up my little rhythm generator to it, teach that one. When it
Chief,
happens.
would it be okay to let them use that until we find that when they need it?
Yeah, once we get them swapped out.
Yeah,
So-
that'd be great.
Until
we
we
can-
find
You still
that.
gotta order these ones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What's the time frame for them getting?
Well, he's got them,
Oh, okay.
so,
And then we could just approve it at the next board meeting, no
That's
matter
fine.
what it is,
Yeah.
for final dispo of the equipment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just put it on loan until then.
we can do that.
All right, so next board meeting.
Hold
the
on,
date-
Nick.
oh,
So, I guess I don't wanna beat a dead horse, but we had that whole deal with Dan's training that we had to pay for, that Les said
Yep.
we needed to.
I got it on my notes.
Okay, I guess I have an issue with us not approving that, like a training, because otherwise he could go to any training he wants.
So just so that you're aware, we did reach out to Les Downs, and he reviewed the contract and the reimbursements that Dan was requesting, and per his advice, we needed to pay them.
Right,
So they've been paid.
I know, I get that
Okay,
part,
okay.
but if Dan could just go to any training he wants without prior approval, we could end up paying any amount.
So how do we go back and fix that?
Well, it says in the contract that there should be board approval, and Les doesn't, that's the way I read it, Les doesn't read it that way.
No, it clearly says for trainings, not for the certs, but for trainings, if board
And I
approval.
thought it said in there as well is that because he didn't go get them, well, he already had it. So it's not like he went out and got it, a new certificate. So I think part of it in there, if I'm correct as well, it said that to him to maintain what he currently had.
Okay, I just don't want us to end up with a bunch of.
No, I get what you're
bills.
saying, and I agree, but I think because he already had it,
Okay,
and I think that was part of the thing in there that said that because like his EMT stuff, that to keep it, or
keep it
paramedic stuff,
active.
to keep everything active, and I think that was already, he already had that. He's had that for maybe a year or two now, maybe, I'm
Okay.
guessing. So I think that's kind of how that kind of fell into that.
Okay,
And that was my understanding of Les's explanation, was because it didn't specify what certifications, that's kind of where
okay,
So we're kind of,
he was coming from.
okay.
I mean,
but I'm
you
with you, though. I get
could
it,
he put
I'm-
in for his driver's license? He had that here.
right. I mean, particularly you could.
Yeah,
What do you guys think, we're just talking now, right? What do you guys think about just paying off the contract? We're paying it anyway.
I think, how involved is he with this new building?
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess
that's the
what
part
you
I
guys
don't wanna
think.
lose, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
not at all. We haven't used him for the new building. We've used him for the quick med claim stuff to try and figure some of that stuff out. And he's got some connections with their attorney, but aside from that, not a lot.
So what are we left on his contract? I know it's
We have
been,
one more payment of 20,
20?
that's it, and he's done.
and that's after the first of the year. Mhm.
So we're almost, I
I think
mean,
we just write it out and then be done with it.
we just gotta make sure that it,
I'm just nervous about, another one something else popping up.
Yeah, training.
I don't know,
Well,
I'm
you'd
always
still
worried
be
about
under
it.
contract,
yeah,
wouldn't you?
well,
Because it's
No, if
dated,
you pay it all.
but it's dated
It has
that he's gonna work for you.
And man, I meant to read that contract before I came to see either party can end it.
well, you can, you had to do so many days
Due
notice.
Yeah,
cause
okay.
and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a thought. It's-
No, I like your idea. I mean, it depends on, goes back to you guys. I mean, are we still using him? I mean, that's why I
Yeah.
recommended the one-year
Yeah.
contract to make sure that,
Yeah, that there was, if you guys need him still.
I would say until we get the stuff straightened out with QMC would be my thing.
Okay.
I don't know, chief, that's,
That's about the only thing
Where
we're
do you guys
using them
think?
for, and, I mean, that all happened under him, and so he's got the knowledge base for that, so we have been using
Let's
them for
just
that.
write it out then.
yeah, we just gotta make sure when it gets to the end of that contract, we just gotta make sure that we end that contract. That's the only thing my concern
I've got
is.
a note, when the last payment comes due, I've got a note in
Okay.
there to bring it up to you guys.
Yeah, that's highly important because I'm not gonna get stuck with another year contract.
Okay.
It's just because it's not fair to the taxpayers.
Right, right. That's all I had, sorry.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry I interrupted you.
That's right. Keep things hashed out. All right. So the next meeting would be the day before Thanksgiving. You guys want to do that, or do you guys want to do December 28th or January 25th?
I'd be okay with December 28th, but I don't know if people are going out of town for the holidays.
Yeah, I probably won't be here then.
Yeah, so we might just push it to January. Because people will be out of town for Thanksgiving,
Yeah, I
so
know.
that Wednesday before we out.
Well, I guess we can set it for January 25th. If we need to meet beforehand, then we can call for
Yeah,
a
that-
meeting beforehand.
That's reasonable.
Okay.
So
All right.
we're looking at January 25th?
Yep, 2023.
Okay.
2023.
I know,
All right.
crazy.
Call for adjournment here, and then we'll go into a budget hearing after that.
Move to adjourn?
Second,
Nick,
Yes.
Floyd,
yes.
Clay,
Yes.
All right. Now we're at 17:01. We'll be in a budget hearing. Roll call.
Nick,
Here.
Floyd,
Here.
Clay.
Here.
Public comments.
No public comments.
Okay.
So now I get to read.
Now I get to finish reading where you're at.
Oh my gosh. Get comfortable. I'll try to read as fast as I can. Okay, resolution to adopt the 2023 budget, appropriate sums of money, and authorize the certification of the tax levy, Trinidad Ambulance District. A resolution summarizing revenues and expenditures for each fund, adopting a budget levying general property taxes for the year 2023 to help defray the costs of government, and appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amounts and for the purposes set forth herein for the Trinidad Ambulance District, Los Animas County, Colorado, for the calendar year beginning the first day of January 2023 and ending on the last day of December 2023. Whereas the Board of Directors of Trinidad Ambulance District has authorized its consultants to prepare and submit a proposed budget to said governing body at the appropriate time. And whereas the proposed budget has been submitted to the Board of Directors of the district for its consideration. And whereas upon due and proper notice published or posted in accordance with the law, said proposed budget was available for inspection by the public at a designated public office. A public hearing was held on October 26, 2022, and interested electors were given the opportunity to file or register any objections to said proposed budget. And whereas whatever increases may have been made in expenditures, like increases were added to the revenues or planned to be expended from reserves or fund balances so that the budget remains in balance as required by law. And whereas the amount of money necessary to balance the budget for the general operating purposes from property tax revenue is $1,165,626. And whereas the Board of Directors finds that it is required to temporarily lower operating mill levy to render a refund for $0. And whereas the amount of money necessary to balance the budget for voter-approved bonds and interest is $0. And whereas the amount of money necessary to balance the budget for contractual obligation purposes from property tax revenue as approved by voters for property tax revenue is $0. And whereas the amount of money necessary to balance the budget for capital expenditure purposes for property tax revenue as approved by voters or at a public hearing is $0. And whereas the amount of money necessary to balance the budget for refunds, rebates is $0. And whereas the 2022 valuation for assessment for the district as certified by the County Assessor of Los Animas County is $426,944,990. And whereas at an election held on November 6, 2016, the district has eliminated the revenue and expenditure limitations imposed on government entities by Article 10, Section 20 of the Colorado Constitution and Section 29.1.301 of the Colorado CRS as amended. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Trinidad Ambulance District of Los Animas County, Colorado. Section 1, Adoption of Budget. That the budget as submitted and attached hereto and incorporated herein by this reference, and if amended, then as amended, is hereby approved and adopted as the budget of the Trinidad Ambulance District For the calendar year 2023, Section 2, Budget Revenues, that the estimated revenues for each fund as more specifically set out in the budget attached here to are accepted and approved. Section 3, Budget Expenditures, that the estimated expenditures for each fund as more specifically set out in the budget attached here to are accepted and approved. Section 4, Levy and General Property Taxes. The Board of Directors does hereby certify the levy of general property taxes for collection in 2023 as follows. A. Levy for general operating and other expenses, that for the purpose of meeting all general operating expense of the district during the 2023 budget year, there is hereby levied a tax of 2.907 mils upon each dollar of the total valuation of assessment of all taxable property within the district for the year 2022. B. Temporary tax credit or rate reduction. That pursuant to section 39-1-1115.5 of the CRS for the purposes of effect of a refund for the purposes set forth in section 20 of article 10 of the Colorado Constitution, there is hereby certified a temporary property tax credit or temporary mill levy rate reduction of 0 mills upon each dollar of the total valuation of the assessment of all taxable property within the boundaries of the district for the year 2022. Levy of general obligation funds and interest, that for the purposes of meeting all debt retirement expense of the district during 2023 budget year, as the funding requirements of the current outstanding general obligation indebtedness is detailed in the following certification of tax levies, there is hereby levied a tax of 0 mills upon each dollar of the total valuation of assessment of all taxable property within the district for the year 2022. D. Levy of contractual obligations, that for the purposes of meeting the contractual obligation expense of the district during 2023 budget year, as detailed in the following certification of tax levies, there is hereby levied a tax of 0 mills upon each dollar of the total valuation for assessment of all taxable property within the district for the year 2022. Levy for the capital expenditures, that for the purposes of meeting all capital expenditures of the district during the 2023 budget year pursuant to section 29-1-301 subsection 1.2 or 29-1-302 subsection 1.5 of CRS, there is hereby levied a tax of 0 mills upon each dollar of the total valuation of assessment of all taxable property within the boundaries of the district for the year 2022. F. Levy for funds and abatements, that for the purposes of recoupment of refunds, abatements of taxes pursuant to section 39-10-114, subsection 1, subsection A, subsection I, subsection B, CRS, there is hereby levied a tax of 0 mills upon each dollar of the total valuation of assessment of the taxable property within the boundaries of the district for the year 2022. Section 5, Property Tax and Fiscal Year Spending Limits. That being fully informed, the Board finds that the foregoing budget and mill levies do not result in a violation of any applicable property tax or fiscal year spending limitation. Section 6, Certification. That the appropriate officers of the district are hereby authorized and directed to certify by December 15th, 2022, to the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County, Colorado, the mill levies for the district herein above determined and set, or be authorized and directed to certify to the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County, Colorado, as herein above determined and set, but as recalculated as needed upon receipt of the final certification of valuation from the county assessor on or about December 10th, 2022, in order to comply with any applicable revenue and other budgetary limits, or to implement the intent of the district. That said, certification shall be substantially the form set out and attached hereto and incorporated herein by this reference. Section 7, Appropriations. That the amount set forth as expenditures and balances remaining as specifically allocated in the budget attached hereto are hereby appropriated from the revenue of each fund to each fund for the purposes stated and no other. So that is your resolution to adopt the 2023 budget. So you need to vote to adopt this.
Move to approve. Adopt the
Second.
resolution.
Nick?
Yep.
Floyd?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you to read one more time, I didn't quite catch everything.
Well, you have to tell me which section, subsection it is you want me to read.
We missed the whole thing.
I know, right? If you want to sit here.
No,
No.
we got it.
So we do need to adjourn.
Adjourn.
We need a motion.
Need a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
So adjourned.
All right.
Your story wasn't terrible.
No.
Yeah, easy for you to
You did all the hard
The
part.
joyful part is if this had all gone out in your board packet, I would have not had to have read it in. But our legal counsel didn't get it to me until this afternoon, so,
Lawyers.
yep. So, we are good to go. Thank you, and I do apologize for the agenda getting messed up and me trying to add things that didn't need to be where they were.
Yes, sir.